Hello everyone, it's Mhairi. Welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I have posted, and that is because my mental health hasn't been that great, and that's actually what I'm going to talk about in today's video. I've been asked quite a few times in the past if I plan on talking more about my psychosis, and I just wanted to quickly say something about that. I do try and talk about it as much as I possibly can, but talking about my psychosis and remembering the times when it was really bad can be quite triggering for me, so there is times where I have to just take a step back and not talk about it because it's what's better for me and my mental health at the time. But for today I am comfortable talking about it, and I'm going to explain what happened and why I haven't been posting. I should say, really, I might have said this before, there is going to be times on my channel where I don't post for like several weeks, maybe even months, and you can normally assume that it's because my mental health hasn't been great and I'm focusing more on just getting through the day than sitting down and filming content. It's annoying, but it's the way it is being bipolar. Anyway, what happened over the last few months. So just before Christmas I had some trouble with my medication, in that the doctor messed up my prescription and I wasn't getting the full amount of my antipsychotics. I was still getting the same dose of my antidepressants. There never ever seemed to be trouble with my antidepressants. It always seems to be issues with my antipsychotics, which is just really annoying, but it's the way it is. And basically they didn't give me almost half of the dose that I'm supposed to take daily, so I was on like half the amount that I was meant to take. And over Christmas and stuff, at first it was alright, but we also got put back on lockdown in Scotland and we have been cooped up in home, which is not great for anybody's mental health anyway, but when you then add that to suddenly just overnight dropping my medication dosage dramatically, then it wasn't a great combination. The annoying thing about it is because of COVID, everything is being done by the phone at the moment, or I have to go to the doctor's, and my doctor's is not nearby. It takes me about half an hour to walk there, and then I have to deal with the receptionist, and then I have to hang around and wait to speak to one of the doctors, and then I have to get that sorted and then go over to the chemist and wait to get my prescription, and it's a whole process. So most of the stuff is being done over phone, which for some people might be fine, some people it might even be preferable. I'm deaf. Phones and me, no. So time just kind of kept going on and it wasn't getting sorted, and then surprisingly it sort of eased off and I was starting to feel better than I did on my previous dose of medication, which is very, very strange. And I just want to say I do not recommend anybody does that with antipsychotics and quite a lot of other medication. Coming off them so suddenly or reducing the dosage that you take so suddenly is really, really not a good idea. And I knew that. I knew with antipsychotics that they should be reduced gradually, and obviously in this situation there wasn't really much I could do about it. And in the end it wound up working out for the best because I am still on the lower dosage. I spoke to my psychiatrist and I actually feel pretty good being on the lower dosage, but at first it was a challenge. It was definitely a challenge. On top of all the problems with my medication, I've had the same kind of problems as pretty much everyone else in the UK with being back in lockdown. It has been surprisingly harder for me this time. I thought it'd be easier because it's winter and, you know, in the winter time here in Scotland especially, you tend to want to be indoors. But the last time that we were in lockdown, it was like spring, summer time, and we had nice weather and we could go out for walks and still kind of meet people outside. And this time round we've had snow. It's been snowing in Edinburgh, which doesn't happen a whole lot, but typically it happened in the middle of lockdown. And yeah, trying to go out for walks in a buggy in the snow with a 1-year-old that doesn't really want to be out in the cold and not having places that you can stop inside, like cafes and stuff, to get warm before you continue on your journey, just not ideal. Thankfully in the last few days it has started to warm up a bit, so I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to go out for more walks and take Bella, that's my daughter if you don't know by the way, take Bella out for walks and just get out the house a bit, because oh my goodness, lockdown with a 1.5-year-old, I am going completely stir crazy. And so is she. It's really not very fair for her either, and that's been another one of the things that I've been worrying about, is how she's going to handle it when we start to come out of lockdown, because the last time that the restrictions started to ease and we could go out and she could go and see her grandparents and stuff again, she struggled. She was not happy being left with anyone, even for seconds. If I went to the toilet in a cafe, or if I nipped out of the room in my mother-in-law's house for 2 minutes, then she would scream the place down. And we'd literally just gotten her to a place where she was kind of back to normal and was managing and didn't get distressed and everything about this, and then we got put in the other lockdown. So I'm kind of nervous about how that's going to be in the future. I'm kind of worried about how all this time being cooped up and not being around people, because she is an only child, you know, not being around other kids, not being around her family, not being able to go to like play groups and things like that. I'm worried how that's going to show itself in the long run, if she is going to suffer because of that. If you don't have kids, it probably seems like a really strange thing to worry about in the grand scheme of things. I mean, obviously I'm much more worried about the virus itself and about the possibility of my daughter getting the virus, even if it doesn't really affect young children all that much. I'm still doing everything I can to make sure she doesn't get it. And in the grand scheme of things, yeah, you know, her getting a bit upset for like a few months after lockdown is lifted, not a big thing, but it is really hard to see it when it's your own child, to see them that upset and distressed, and know that the only thing you can do is just let them do it, because otherwise, you know, it's never going to sort itself out. And the last thing that I've had on my mind, and this is something that I haven't actually spoken about on YouTube, I think I have spoken about it on my social media, but during the last lockdown I had a bit of a breakdown. I had a psychotic episode, well, a few psychotic episodes where I was seeing and hearing things again, and obviously going into lockdown again and being in lockdown again, I have been really anxious that that's going to happen, especially now that I'm on a lower dosage. Even though I'm feeling great, I'm still really aware that it could happen just out of nowhere, because it pretty much did the last time. And you know, it's not something fun to think about. It's not something that everyone obviously understands and is able to relate to, but if you have psychosis, obviously you will get it. The thought of having some kind of relapse and the fact that I had already had one in the last lockdown just makes me so much more, what's the word, like alert and aware and just on guard really during this lockdown. So far everything has been fine, no issues apart from feeling completely bored out of my mind. And I'm hoping it stays that way, but I guess we will see. And even though everything has been fine, obviously, like I said, because it was so sudden the last time, it doesn't really ease my anxiety about it. So yeah, a lot of things have been happening, and I just haven't been in the frame of mind to sit down and film. I've barely been in the frame of mind to do anything other than focus on my daughter and, you know, keeping everything together and as normal as we possibly can during this time. Hopefully we won't be in lockdown for too much longer. It's really starting to get to me, if you can't tell. Okay, I'm going to wrap this video up before it gets longer than it needs to be. So if you made it to the end, then thank you very much for listening to my rambles, and I hope that I will see you in my next video, and thanks for watching. Bye guys.